Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Tuam, and today I'm going to read your comments on IMDb from the most positive one to the most negative one. All right, the first one from Bayou H. If I mispronounce, I'm sorry about that. Bayou H 80. He or she gave 10 out of 10 score, very generous. And he said, very entertaining, new version of M3GAN. The action scene is perfect, and punchline of comedy make it more fun. The story is not that complicated and very simple, but still have a twist. So as you can see, Bayou H80 was very generous, and he or she mentioned that the story is not that complicated and very simple, and that was a good thing for him or her. But I think the movies should be complicated, and they should have creativity inside it. Otherwise, if you watch a simple movie again and again, the same story they are selling to you. So that's necessarily not a good thing. So I disagree with this guy about that. All right, let's read next comment. Tisa underline yelled. He or she said that I was surprised how much I liked the first one. I love this one significantly more as long as you go into the sequel knowing that the tone has been shifted to fun, campy, action, comedy. This guy actually gave 9 out of 10 to this movie. Again, I think very generous. So, what do you think about his comment, guys? About the first movie, actually, I like it too. But for the second one, it's a tricky question. So, we are going through that and we will talk about it. But Tisa mentioned that he or she loved this one significantly more. I don't know. It's even there are people like that around there. Maybe those who don't like horror, maybe that's the case. I don't know why he mentioned that exactly, but maybe because he didn't like the previous genre of movie. That's the way I can explain it. Otherwise, really, I think the level was different and the first one was much better. All right, next, John 22. He gave 8 out of 10. He said, first of all, I have to admit I'm a fan of the first movie, so he agrees also with me. And when they first announced that they were making a sequel, I was super excited about it. Me too, actually. So when I first watched the official teaser of the movie, I liked it, even though I had mixed feelings about it. Eventually, it was a nice sequel, but I'm not sure if I enjoyed it the same as I did with the original movie. So he gave 8 out of 10. I think again generous because if you believe that, then 8 I think is too much, honestly. So next comment, Apriger. I don't know, most probably I mispronounce this name. A proper sequel to a horror movie. Too many times in horror movie sequels, it attempts to just rehash the exact same movie as the first one. But M3GAN 2 takes a letter from two other great horror franchises, like Terminator 1 to Terminator 2 and Alien to Aliens. So, what do you guys think about his comment? So, he thinks that actually it was a good idea to make such a sequel, and he compared it with two other franchises, and he thinks that it was a proper sequel. What do you guys think about his comment? All right, next one, Cutie7, 6 out of 10. M3GAN 2 still slaying. She's back, smarter, sassier, and somehow even more unhinged than before. Actually, I don't agree. I think it was one of the disadvantages of this movie when you change the personality of a character. Doesn't matter this is an artificial intelligence or we are talking about a human. When you totally change the character, then that's not a good idea. But maybe it's not fair to say totally, but you know what I mean. Like from a killer change to a protector, something like that. So I really enjoy a good character development in movies, and unfortunately, on this sequel, I didn't see that. Not only for Megan, for other characters as well. Okay, next comment. Nizar Salim, 5 out of 10. In Megan 2, I praise the action scenes, performances of the cast, soundtrack, and ending. But despite these good elements, the film was not as I personally thought it will be. The first installment was a lot better regarding the horror elements, tone, more organized story and plot, direction, screenplay, and visual and sound effects. So I think this guy gave a fair comment. I agree with him. Like, for example, he mentioned the performances of the cast. Yes, nothing wrong there. The actors were good, and especially Ivana. It was first time I noticed her. Actually, she played in some famous TV series, but I think she really played well in this one, and many people will know her, especially after this movie. And about soundtrack and ending, yes, he's again right. And I think the story is very important when we talk about a movie. When they shift from horror to action, whenever the sequel is action, I question it automatically. I think there is not enough story to tell. That's why they are just they are trying to kill time somehow by action scenes. So that's a negative thing we could say about this movie. All right, next comment from Slightly Mad, 4 out of 10. I just got out of Megan 2 following the Terminator playbook. This is not a horror like the first movie. The sequel is more of an action movie. It also steals the basic premise in that killer from the first movie is reprogrammed to protect. Yes, we talked about it and he's right, but I think 4 was a little bit harsh. But anyway, I agree with this guy, so he's not far from the truth. So, slightly mad 22. I think you are not that mad that you think that you named your ID like that because your comment makes sense. Okay, next one Brian Douglas Envy, 3 out of 10. Less horror, more hashtags. The original M3GAN earned its moment in the cultural spotlight thanks to a clever blend of camp, chaos, and that now iconic hallway dance that launched 1,000 TikToks. It was cheeky, self aware, and just self serious enough to be taken semi seriously. But with M3GAN 2, the franchise has traded it in its horror roots for a thirst trap of viral moments and meme-worthy one-liners. If the first film flirted with parody, this sequel proposes to marry it. Yes, Brian is actually right. But I think it was very harsh, 3 out of 10. What do you think, guys? I think 3 was a little bit low, but still, I agree with this guy. Brian is right. Okay, next one. Julian W19, 2 out of 10. What happened? He asked. This is one of the worst sequels I've ever seen. It seems to be appealing to the American teenage audience. The jokes simply were not funny unless you are 13. The writing and direction of this movie was worse than an 80s B movie. The characters are forgettable and extremely predictable. Actually, he's right about the characters, unfortunately. The actors were good, but characters, that's another story. So, he continues. The first movie was great, but you can feel from the onset this was trying to be like a viral TikTok for teens. You see, this is something reviewers are mentioning. So this is not something just comes to one guy. This is true. Actually, it makes sense. 2 out of 10, I think, again, was not fair, but again, I agree with this guy, Julian. Yes, you are right. All right, the last comment, which is the most negative one, 1 out of 10, Patrick 68944. He says the real horror of M3GAN 2 is the movie itself. Yes, so that's what he believes, and he really hated this movie. Okay, guys, so I covered from 10 out of 10 to 1 out of 10. I took sample one from each rating from IMDb. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm not going to talk about it myself in details. You already know my opinion if you watched my previous videos, or you have checked my Instagram. But in short, if I want to say, I gave 5 out of 10, and after reading these comments, I agree with most of them, but I think what I really wanted to see from this movie was more depth. Definitely more depth, not to just make it for teenagers, as some of the guys mentioned correctly, and not to make it an action movie. There's no problem with creating action movies, but this one already had a genre of itself, so you just ruined it, I believe. It could be some more added action scenes, why not, to make it more interesting for the audience. But as one of the guys said, it got more simple and he liked it, but in fact, it lost its depth. And he tried to they tried to mention a point related to how to control AI. This is a sensitive topic and very interesting, but unfortunately, I believe they couldn't deliver. I liked most of the actors, like the first movie, nothing wrong there. The character development was terrible. It makes you not to care about the characters, and this is really bad. And getting to know Ivana and her performance, that was really something that this movie gave to us. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and see you guys in the next videos.